Requirement of radical self-respect number 15. Believe people's words more than their actions. But before I get into today's video, which is an excerpt of one of my requirements of radical self-respect, which is my book coming out in January at some point, please do subscribe if you've not already, if you like this kind of content about relationships, mental health, psychology, etc. And thank you to everyone who's been on board so far. But back to today's topic. Ralph Waldo Emerson said, "What you do speaks so loudly, I cannot hear what you say." And I cannot emphasize this rule enough. So many people get caught up, men, women, on what people say, when what they're doing is clearly communicating how they really think and feel about you and where you are on their priority list. I cannot stress that enough. And I'll use an example because it demonstrates both sides of this. Say there's a woman that she wants a laundry list of things from a dude, a nice guy, a guy who loves his mother, a guy who will be attentive to her all day and to all of her whims and whims, a guy who's a good boy. But then she winds up going off with the asshole dude who binge drinks, is mildly abusive perhaps, or ignores her for days on end. So it's a great example of sometimes a woman will say something and then do something completely different. And this should not be ignored. It happens all the time. And for the same woman, I can say to her, say this guy's maybe making you empty promises about loving you, being there for you forever, never being mean to you again, never cheating on you again. And then he continues to do it. Believe actions much more than words. People's priorities, people will always act in accordance to what their priorities are, no matter what they say. And there is no exception to that rule. If you're a priority to someone, you'll know it because you will be in their routine. So we got to break this down some more. Everyone has priorities to them every day. So most people who have a job, a job is one of their priorities. And so they get to work. And how they think of work is they think, oh, this is a priority, I got to do it. So they're capable of having any sort of priorities they want. But things that they don't think are priorities simply won't get done. But everyone has their priorities. The difference is what those priorities are. And I've learned through my process of radical self-respect, if I'm really low on someone else's priority list, I'd be disrespecting myself to put them high on my priority list. And it's like, how do you know when someone's low on your priority list, or you're low on their priority list? You watch their actions. If they take days to respond, if maybe they don't respond, if they act like they don't care, they say something that they will, but then they don't, you're low on their priority list. No matter what they say, you're low on their priority list. And there's so many examples of this, and so men and women alike pay attention to people's actions. And if you pay attention to what they do, you pay attention to what their priorities are, you'll begin to see where you are on their priority list. And this is always the case. And I see a lot of women complain about this in regards to dudes, and I have to tell them, it's like, he's showing you what his priorities are. Whatever he is doing are his priorities, no matter what he says. And I can't state that loudly enough. And a lot of people want to say, oh, but he said this, but he said that. It's like, no. What he is doing are his priorities. And I don't know who else needs to hear this, but pay attention to what people do, not what they say. Because what they do is a bigger indicator of how they really think and feel. So this is an excerpt of my book, Radical Self-Respect. There are 16 other rules I have, requirements I call them, for radical self-respect. And they're all pretty damn important. And if you learn to live with this principle of radical self-respect, it will absolutely change your life. Because you will no longer be accepting of bullshit behavior. And you'll have, how should I say this? You'll have some standards for the kind of person you want to have in your life and how you're going to be treated. And it's either people will treat you how you'd like, or they're gone. That's it. Life's too short to be mistreated. And if we are constantly being mistreated, we are cooperating with the treatment. So again, in summary, pay attention to people's actions more than their words. Their actions will tell you what their true priorities are. And that's all you really need to know. And I see men doing it, I see women doing it, but everyone, men, pay attention to women's actions. Men, pay attention to other men's actions. Women, pay attention to his actions. Actions will tell you everything you need to know. So with that, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this requirement of radical self-respect. Can you think of any exceptions to this rule? Because I can't. So I'd love to hear some if you can find some. So, with that, have a good one.